Hey, what's up you guys? It's Dorothy and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to give this video a big thumbs up. Comment down below what you want to see in the future. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and turn on my post notifications. That way you get notified every single time I upload a video. I know my lighting is kind of like all over the place right now. I'm trying to block that window as best as possible. Ooh. But you know, it might not work out the right way, but yeah. We're going to go into chapter 21 of A Good Girl's Guide to... Not A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, Good Girl, Bad Blood. Oh my gosh. So yeah, let's get right into it. This video may contain sensitive topics and foul language. If you do not wish to continue, please click off of the video now. You have been warned. 21. Connor wasn't eating. He pushed the food around his plate, scoring deep lines through the untouched pasta with the points of his plastic fork. Zach had noticed too. Pip accidentally caught his eye across the table as she watched Connor sitting there, silent in the deafening cafeteria. It was the comments, she knew, strangers on the internet, with their theories and their opinions. Jamie Reynolds must be dead, and he's definitely been murdered. Seems he kind of deserved it, though. Pip told Connor to ignore them, but it wasn't clear he couldn't. Their words sculling around him, leaving their mark. Kara was sitting beside Pip, close enough that her elbow occasionally nudged Pip's ribs. She picked up on Connor's silence, too. Hence, her attempt to bring up Connor's favorite topic, Area 51 conspiracies. The only ones who hadn't noticed were Ant and Lauren. Ant was supposed to be Connor's best friend, but he had his back turned to him, straddling the bench as he and Lauren hugged and giggled about something. Pip couldn't say she was surprised. Ant hadn't seemed all that concerned about Connor yesterday either, only bringing Jamie up once. She knew it was an awkward situation, and most people struggled with what to talk about. But you say sorry at least once. It's just what you do. Lauren snorted at whatever Ant had whispered, and Pip felt a flash of something hot under her skin, but she bit her lip and talked it down. This wasn't the time to pick a fight. Instead, she watched as Kara pulled a Kit Kat from her bag and slowly slid it across the table into Connor's eye line. It broke his trance, and he looked at Kara, the corners of his mouth twitching in a small passing smile as he abandoned the fork and reached to accept her offering. Kara passed that same smile on to Pip. She looked tired. 3 nights had gone by, 3 nights that Pip had been too busy to call her to talk her to sleep. Pip knew she must be lying awake. The tint beneath Kara's eyes told her that. And now her eyes told her something else, widening and gesturing up as someone behind Pip tapped her on the shoulder. She swiveled and looked to see Tom Norak standing there, giving her an awkward wave. Lauren's ex-boyfriend. They'd broken up last summer. Hi, he said, over the noise in the cafeteria. Ugh, Lauren immediately butted in. Oh, so now she paid attention. What do you want? Nothing, Tom said, shaking his long hair out of his eyes. I just need to talk to Pip about something. Sure, Ant charged in, sitting up at as tall as he could, crossing one arm in front of Lauren to take grip of the table. Any excuse to come over to our table, right? No, it's not, Tom trailed off with a shrug and turned back to Pip. I have some information. No one wants you here. Go away, Ant said. An amused smile spread across Lauren's face as she threaded her arm through his. I'm not talking to you, Tom said. He looked back at Pip. It's about Jamie Reynolds. Connor's head jerked up, his eyes blinking away the haunted look as he focused on Pip. She held up one hand and nodded, gesturing for him to stay put. Oh, sure, Ant said, with a sneer. Be quiet, will you, Ant? Pip stood up and shouldered her heavy bag. No one's impressed except Lauren. She climbed over the plastic bench and told Tom to follow her as she headed toward the doors to the courtyard outside, knowing Connor would be watching them go. Let's talk over here, she said, once they were outside, gesturing to a low wall. It rained that morning, and the bricks were still a little wet as she sat down, soaking into her pants. Tom spread out his jacket before joining her. So what information do you have about Jamie? It's about the night he went missing, Tom said, with a sniff. Really? Have you listened to the first episode? I released it last night. No, not yet, he said. I only asked because we've built up a timeline of Jamie's movements last Friday. We know he was at the Calamity Party from 9:16 p.m. and left the area around 10:32 p.m. If that's where you saw him, Tom stared at her blankly. What I mean is I already have information, if that's what you were going to tell me. He shook his head. No, it's something else. I wasn't at the Calamity Party, but I saw him after. You did? After 10:32? And suddenly Pip was hyper-aware. The shrieking freshman boys playing soccer, a fly that had just landed on her bag, the wall pressing into her bones. Yes, Tom said. It was after that. How long after? Maybe 15 minutes or 20? He screwed up his face in concentration. So around 10:50 p.m., Pip asked. Yeah, that sounds about right. Pip sat forward, waiting for Tom to continue. He didn't. And, she said, starting to grow annoyed, despite herself. Where were you? Where did you see him? What, was it somewhere near Highmore where the party was? Yeah, it was that road. What's it called? Oh, Cross Lane, he said. Cross Lane. Pip knew only one person who lived on Cross Lane with a bright blue door, an angled front path, Nat De Silva and her parents. You saw Jamie on Cross Lane at 10:50 p.m.? Yeah, I saw him in a burgundy shirt and white sneakers. I specifically remember that. That's what he was wearing, specifically, Pip said, wincing at Tom's butchering of the word. Why were you there at that time? He shrugged. Just going home from a friend's house. And what was Jamie doing, Pip asked. He was walked past me. Okay, and was he on the phone when he walked past you, she said. No, don't think so. No phone. Pip sighed. Tom wasn't making this very easy for her. Okay, what else did you see? Did it look like he was heading somewhere? Maybe a house? Yeah, Tom nodded. Yeah, what? A house. He was walking to a house, he said. Like maybe that halfway up the road. Nat De Silva's house was about halfway up. Pip's thoughts intruded, demanding her attention, and Jamie had planned to go there, though Nat said he never showed up. Pip felt a thrumming in her neck as her pulse picked up, palms growing sticky, and from the rain. How do you know he was heading to a house? Because I saw him go into a house, Tom said. Inside? The word came out louder than she intended. Yes, he sounded exasperated, like she was the one making this difficult. Which house? Ah, Tom said, scratching his hair, switching the part to the other side. It was late. I wasn't looking at the numbers, didn't see. Well, can you describe what the house looked like at all? Pip said, with a gripping the wall now, fingertips scraping against it. What color was the front door? Tom looked at her. I think it was white. Pip exhaled. She sat back from him, unhooked her fingers, and dropped his gaze. Not Nat De Silva's house, then. Good. Wait. Tom suddenly, eyes settling at her again. Actually, no, I don't think it was white. No, I remember now. It was blue. Yeah, blue. Pip's heart reacted immediately. A beating in her ears quickly completes that almost sounded like Nat De Silva, Nat De Silva, Nat De Silva. She forced her mouth shut and reopened it again to ask, white brick house, vine on the side? Tom nodded, more life in his face now. Yeah, that's the one. I saw Jamie going into that house. Did you see anyone else who opened the door? No, I just saw him go into Nat De Silva's house. That had been the plan, after all, for Jamie to go to Nat's house after the memorial. That's what he told Connor. That's what Nat had said to Pip, except she also said he never showed up. The last time she saw Jamie was when he walked away from her into the crowd to find someone. But Tom saw Jamie going into Nat's house at 10:50 p.m. after the calamity party. So somebody was lying here. And who would have a reason to? Tom, she said. Would you mind if we went over this again in a recorded interview? Sure, no problem. r/A Good Girl's Guide to Murder podcast, posted by you/HEDETECCHEHEPROTECC 40 minutes ago. The Hillary F. Wiseman lead. I know Pip's been busy chasing Jamie's movement on that night, but I feel it would be a mistake for her to ignore this note in Jamie's trash can. We know the Reynolds cleaner comes once every 2 weeks on a Wednesday, so the note Pip found has to have been written/thrown away within the past 10 days, coinciding with the time period in which Jamie is acting irrationally, stealing, sneaking out. Pip's research turned up only the one Hillary F. Wiseman, an 84-year-old woman who lived in Fairview and died 12 years ago. So yes, it's very strange that Jamie was recently writing down this old dead woman's name, but I'm wondering if this note doesn't refer to a person at all, but to a location. If Hillary Wiseman died there, then I'm guessing she's probably buried in a graveyard in town. What if the note isn't referring to Hillary the person, but rather her gravesite as a meeting place? Look at the wording on the note again. Hillary F. Wiseman left 11. What if it actually means the grave of Hillary F. Wiseman on the left side of the cemetery at 11 o'clock? A meeting time and place. What do you guys think? 59 comments. Give a word, share, and save. That is the end of chapter 21. I will see you guys in the next video for chapter 22. Bye.